Smart 24, driving business.
Yes, we'll be back from the break. It's exactly 5 minutes past 8. Smart Means Business, Andrew Barije with Charlotte, and we're definitely driving your business through all the way. And Charlotte, actually, I believe so much in inspiration. Inspiration as an entrepreneur, as somebody that is aspiring to be an entrepreneur. I mean, like I always say, it's always important to look into the footsteps of the people that have gone ahead of us.
Yes.
Yes, so most of these quotes you actually see on Smart Means Business are largely inspired by prominent entrepreneurs, both continental, national, and global. Let's get into this. You don't have to be great to start something, but when you start something, you'll definitely be great. Charlotte, I feel like there is a lot of fear amongst most especially the young entrepreneurs out there. Some fear to start, and others, when they start, they fear to expand.
Well, with our economy,
Yeah.
with the high taxes we have, with the high standard of living, you find that the youth are scared to start because they know at the end of the day, I'm going to start a company, and other products, of course, they're coming from abroad. Of course, when you enter a shop and there's foundation made by a Ugandan and there's foundation coming from New York or Paris, what are you going to look at? So at the end of the day, these youth usually fear to start because already there is something else. You're like, how am I going to compete with this company? How am I going to do it with this one? So the only way we can do that, I think, is empowering the youth. The government has to help them.
Very important.
When they find you've already input your 3 million, let the government ask you, you're making socks, you brought a machine to make socks. Already we are importing socks. Why should we import socks when we have our own person who can make socks? You started with 3 million. Let us help you with 10 more million for you to make a bigger company and factory and employ more youth to give them work, and let us stop importing socks. But, well, we don't have it here.
Absolutely perfect. Empowering the population is quite very key and very important. Well, we shall definitely be heading into those discussions further on. But before we get in there, today we are discussing why local entrepreneurs need government funding. And we had something which is coming in from the members of parliament, squeezing that is a multiplex over stalled projects. They don't deliver on time, and this has been quite very typical, and it explains why the president said the reason why he gives the contracts to the armies to take on certain projects. It's because some of the private companies don't deliver on time.
Yes.
But blaming somebody, what have you done to help them? I would think it would be much more easy. I'm not saying the president is blaming them. Probably the people that give the president information tell him that, hey, these people don't do it right. But what have you done to help them? I think it's most important.
It's most important if the president himself is given a report,
yes,
and he himself actually gets his personal person that he trusts to always give him the right report.
The right to report.
He himself to actually call this person and ask, we asked you to deliver 1,200 tablets for the census.
Exactly.
Why don't we have them on time? Excuse me. So why don't we have them on time?
On time, yeah.
And the person can explain themselves rather than just cutting the contract without knowing why.
Exactly.
What if the person giving the report actually wants to take the contract and take this money to be able to be the one to make the tablets?
The tablets.
Yes.
That comes back to the laws when it comes to executing judgment over certain matters, legal reforms, the legal aspect. Why did this person, why wasn't this person able to deliver on time? I guess we can get into this discussion shortly. We shall be returning with further analysis.
Road construction is very intricate. Roads, bridges are very important structures in an economy. Unfortunately, they have been historically handled by the so-called international companies only. But in the spirit of independence of African states, we must take up this responsibility and build down roads. But to do it, you cannot make a road contractor in less than 15 to 18 years. Even if you enlist anybody and tell them that you give them all the machines they want today, they may not be able to become contractors of international stand in less than 15 years. So it is a culture that the country needs to embrace, and we are calling upon the Committee of Parliament for Infrastructure to see how to support this very, very important area of national development. There's no single contractor who can go on his own and buy equipment in our economy and employ engineers and be able to compete with an international firm. And there's no international firm that will leave any money here. Whatever money they make, they take it back home. They leave us with nothing. So it is, in a way, a national service. One cannot be a contractor like we have been for the last 37 years without making profit for even 1 year, without having the nationalistic approach, because there are many other businesses that we can do. So those are the challenges. The investments are huge. To be a contractor of good stand, you need at least 100 billion shillings of investment to be able to compete with international contractors. But even if you're given that money, you need to go through the training. The training in this country is lacking. There is no effort of training local contractors. It started some time ago in the late 1980s when some of us were young people, but it died off. There's nobody who's doing it anymore. So those are the challenges that need to be faced squarely. Most important areas that government can support local contractors is to get them out of the competition with international firms, because they will never compete. They will never compete because the international companies have muscle, their home governments support them. In that line, we would like the government to support, we could call upon government to support local contractors a bit more, especially the roads and bridges contractors and the railway lines.
We want to appeal to government, because if someone cannot do the contract in a period of 3 to 5 years, he cannot manage, then the government should look into it, and especially the partners. The World Bank should look into it, and the extended period, more time should be given. Because the end losers are the Ugandans. The end losers are the people. So once an extension is not given, then we are at a loss. So it is our appeal to government that they give these contractors a benefit of doubt. If they have been extending, I think, around 3 to 4 times. So if they have been extending, why not now? Let us give them a last chance as a benefit of doubt, so that probably if they can be given 6 months, within 6 months from now, I think, given the percentage at which work is, they can be able to complete.
Well, 100 billion Ugandan shillings that are needed for a local company to be in position to compete with the foreign contractors. Charlotte has been discussing something earlier. I mean, something with the foundation. You gave an example of somebody with imported related, it could be cosmetics, and vis-a-vis those that are actually locally made, and there is quite a huge competition in there. Well, just to digress, digress a little bit away from that. Yesterday we had a discussion, because I want to relate something here. It was about a population on economy, right? And you get to realize that most local entrepreneurs, the market base on which they are surviving at is not, can I call it, is not sustainable, because there is a low income per capita if you have to compare, because there is a huge population and it's dull, it's idle. So absolutely, there is not going to be quite a lot. Now, for investment companies like this, Charlotte, I believe part of the ways they can actually raise their capital is increasing their product portfolio.
Yes.
In other words, it doesn't mean that if you're dealing, if you're dealing in construction, it doesn't stop you from developing other products related to construction, which people can actually purchase, because you have your main business, of course, is making roads, but you need other side business portfolios, side businesses that can enhance this. I've seen this. I normally give examples, but I may not want to go in there. But I normally give examples in the entertainment industry. You find that a company called Time Warner Company, AT&L, these are cable companies in the United States, but they widen their business portfolio by investing in sports, in movies, and all this. So that generates extra income, because if the reality is, you see, even Charlotte, I've come to realize that even our innovations we do here, they are more of all, they are survival based, because we are very many and the population is we are many. We are many and the resources are scarce.
Very scarce.
So we find that people only innovate with what is available. Let's go by that. That's why they will tell you that it's like you having an umbrella in a rain, or rain gets you off guard and you forge an umbrella bit, but that umbrella is not sustainable.
Of course it's not, because you're just going to get a polythene bag, put it on your head probably, or on your body, and before you know it. But of course we know the problem we have here is we end up, why these companies, of course the youth will start up the companies.
Yeah.
I'll start with quality. I'll give you quality lipstick when I start making my cosmetics. The first bunch of the 1,000 pieces I have will be quality, because I am launching this product to my people.
Exactly.
And of course I am excited. I'm doing this lipstick. Everyone is going to buy it. I want everyone to know it. Of course you invest all you have. And after putting out the 1,000 pieces of lipstick that you're putting out there, you realize the taxes, the transport, you have to pay the employees and everything. And before you know it, if you've been putting like 6 products in your lipstick, you end up putting 4. And before you know it, people start complaining, Charlotte, your lipstick was really good. I don't know what is happening.
Exactly.
Now when you put it, it smudges and everything. But of course, even if you explain to the customers, you know what, I'm being squeezed by government and the taxes, the what, because you have a shop. You've opened that company for the lipstick.
Exactly.
You have to put up a shop. But in these buildings that you've put the shop, remember, you have to pay rent. After paying that rent, you have to pay garbage fee. After garbage fee, you have to pay power fee. After power fee, generator fee. You're like, when I'm paying this 2.5 million per month for the rent, isn't it supposed to help? Because remember, if I'm selling each piece of the lipstick stick I'm selling, if I'm selling it, let's say 30,000. I'll have to make sure I am making like 20,000 from it, because the 10,000 should be the investment.
Should be the investment.
So
yeah.
the 20,000 I have to pay the rent, the transport to move the products, the employees and everything. If at the end of the day, me, the owner of the product, if I'm making 200 shillings from the product, I am not making any money.
You're not making money.
Yes. So at the end of the day, I feel like these taxes that we have on the local entrepreneurs that are actually starting factories and businesses, they should actually bring them down a little bit. If they've been taxing them, each product you make, you have to pay 1,000. As a Ugandan citizen, I feel like I need to pay 200 shillings for each product I make. That lipstick I make, I need to pay a tax over at least 50 shillings because I am a Ugandan national. I'm not importing it. So if the government is making me pay more than the international investors, it doesn't make sense to me. It feels like the government wants the international investors to be better than us, the locals. Because I'll give you an example of China, because back in the day when I was in school there, you would find that there's products they make for the Chinese market.
Exactly.
There's products they make for the European market.
European market, yeah.
And then we have the African market. So you'll find this particular blouse at 10,000, 20,000 and 50,000. And guess what? The one of 10,000 is for the African market. Why? Because they know as Africans, we love quantity not quality.
Yeah.
That is why usually you go on the streets, you find new clothes. They're like, you're like, is it a second-hand cloth? And then when you get there, it is actually something new and it is bad quality. The person will wear the cloth and you do this, it tears.
And even color, it loses color.
Yes. Yeah. So at the end of the day, I feel like we need to love our country more. We need to encourage these youth who are opening the businesses. The government needs to actually look into these things and say, you know, let us cut down on the taxes the locals are paying. Because at the end of the day, you've actually moved in other areas. Like you go to a hotel, let's say you've gone to Kasese, you've gone to see Queen Elizabeth, or you go to Fort Portray, you see America in Namiru, you go to a hotel, you find that they're saying international people are paying in dollars, or even you yourself, you end up paying per night in that hotel 320,000, and even the international person is paying 320,000. Me, the local person, I'm supposed to pay 20,000 to see this thing. Maverega is in my country. I am a Ugandan. I'm a citizen. Why should I pay $50 to see something that is in my country? It is this international person who has come to see it that needs to pay more for it to be maintained, for the others to come and actually see it. So personally, I feel like it's the government itself that is making the youth fear to invest and to be great out there.
Absolutely interesting. I mean, you mentioned something very, very incredible. You know, there is always a battle between the adopting the socialism perspective or the free market or what we call the capital economy. And in most cases now, like take for instance in Kampala, when you've been mentioning the buildings that are in there, of course there is excess private ownership of the goods. I mean of the buildings, which is associated with excess exploitation. Now the challenge comes in if you adopt a capitalist kind of perspective with unsound economic policies. They are not sounding at all. What does that mean? Of course, it's going to end up impacting the Ugandans. Now, it all comes back to the governance, you know, because I believe they have really tried, the private organizations have really tried their best to make sure that they equip these young people with skills. By the way, talking about empowering these people, are these, okay, we're empowering them, but are they skilled enough to also run businesses? You know, that is also something I tend to look into. Do they have what it takes to run a business? If people, a few businesses make their first birthday, and not only just in the city center, even away from the city center, the management skills, anyway, that may not be a big factor, but just trying to get back to what you said, empowering these local entrepreneurs in terms of tax policies, you know, tax policies and unnecessary charges that come along here. There is need to be supervision, because now, you see, now that's the problem of having a huge population that is idle. Every person is going to think, within any entity. You see it even from the parking perspective. Somebody comes, is not even belonging to any company, but just because he has seen you park your car somewhere, he takes advantage of it. It's like, hey, I need some money. You know, so if you're ignorant, you're definitely going to give that person money. And to some degree, you feel like this person has cheated me, but try to understand do you think he wants to do that? You know, so it's quite there is quite a huge there is a lot of work, you know, to be done, most especially amongst the youth. And the only way is to empower them, train them, you know, give them the and also give them the physical assets that they can touch, you know, let them get funds. Because today, trust me, of what sense are you going to give me money, 1 million, yet I have, my landlord is going to chase me out of the house in 2 weeks, and you're giving me money for investment, parish development mode. I'm definitely going to clear rent because I'm desperate.
Yeah.
First kill that desperation in me of then I'll think of investment.
Yeah, well, when you talk about the rent and everything, when you look at all that, I feel like our government should actually put up a policy whereby they say buildings in Kampala, business places, as long as someone is renting, do not put them above this if this person is selling this. Because if I'm selling juice in my shop, I put up a shop in Kalere, I have juice, I have water in the fridge, I need to put yaka. That is one. And then I have to pay rent. I have to buy things to make that juice with every day. I need to use water. I need to eat lunch when I'm at my shop.
Perfect.
I need, well, when you look at all these things, because like I said, when you have this product of the lipstick, so you'll have these tubes where you put the lipstick. So when you're importing those tubes where to put the lipstick, the government is going to charge you a lot. But remember, you're making a product that is actually helping the country be known out there. If I say a product called Charlotte Beauty, I would expect the government to be like, our very own young girl started a product. She's trying to compete with MAC products, Black Opal and all. Let us push her to make sure this product goes what? International. But guess what? They will just make the taxes high for you. They're like, why do you have this product? You have to do this. And you know, when you go and meet these people in offices, you feel like you need to shut down the factory immediately. Because the way they talk, they're like, for you now, you're doing this now, you know you have to pay this, and then you need to do this, and then you need to do this. They make it look very difficult for you to actually own a business, which is not.
Actually, Charlotte, let me give you an example. I was interacting with an innovator. He had developed a fintech application. It was about sending people money. You were in Uganda, but you can, you know, people have been using these renowned ones, the Western Unions. But now he developed his application where you can actually send money. But he told me, when I go to the Bank of Uganda, I mean, my fellow people into this fintech industry see me as a competition. You know, you find that the Bank of Uganda is going to put a huge charge. But you're a startup. How you can rarely even. I mean, you're told of fees of about $20,000. That's about 80 million. A startup in Uganda. So your fellow people in the same market see you as a competition. Financial institutions see you as a competition. That's now the huge challenge. And
of course, you see, with all this, you find that Uganda as a country, I'm going to use a Ugandan phrase, I feel like Tetwe Gomba. Like when we were growing up, our parents used to tell us, Tetwe Gomba, no. So for you, don't you want to go read? Like, don't you want to have a good performance at the end of the day? So you as a parent, you feel like you have to make the child, like, haven't you seen Andrew? He got 90s. Why are you getting 40s? Ask him, how is he doing it? What different thing is the teacher doing? So I feel like the government needs to be like, you know what? Many companies are out there. How many youth are there? So we have our people here who are starting things. These usually we have these programs, the YLP and the YLF here. So that is it. I feel like these programs need to help them at the end of the day.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, let's take a break. Smart Means Business returns shortly.